Okay. I do not like being around my grandmother. Now you have a domino effect, that lay effect on every woman in my family. That's why I don't like dealing with elderly women who have a bad attitude. I mean, that's on them, and I'm not really on good terms with my grandmother, even though she has Alzheimer's. Dealing with, yeah, like dealing with toxic grandmothers can be a hassle. And they can be like narcissists. Just because they're old doesn't mean you have to give them a pass. They're too old, and you know, life get really shorter for them, like literally getting short. When you being condescending towards people, like towards your family members that don't really deserve it. They only want open conversations when they feel like it, when it benefits for them. Mostly toxic grandmothers have like divorces, pretty much like a bad childhood, lashes out on their own children, i.e., my mom. Now my mom is kind of like acting like my grandmother. Plus my grandmother's uh, her birthday's coming up in 2 days, so yeah, it's real crazy and hectic. The fortunate part is just that like I just want to be left alone. Um, just want to have peace, not dealing with other women outside of my family. Externally, you get to like have a full perspective, like other family members of how grandmas interact differently with you know, um, their children, despite of like colored and race. And those same toxic grandmothers will pretty much ask, your own grandson, your own granddaughter, how much you make an hour, like, do you have a job, do you have a car, as if they're pretty much a helicopter towards your life. And I just try my best to dodge the questions, best way I can. That's why I actually extract, definitely, I'm most definitely extracted from my grandmother. um there were some traumatizing events where my mom, told me stories how she been like physically abused by my grandmother. And I'm not surprised by the way by how my grandmother carried herself. You know, it's just that like I'm over trying to like move on from my life and uh not trying to like think about the bad times or bad experiences I had with female counterparts in my family. There were some stories that my mom told me about that one time, I think it was like a year or two ago, when my mom was trying to like visit a friend. Well, they actually did meet up, and they met each other since they were 7 years old, according to my mom. Um, and my mom told me they were actually, talking in the dining room, and they would just have like a normal conversation. It wasn't that dramatic, or it wasn't, you know, all perfect or anything, but my grandma, she told my grandma out of nowhere would say like, "Will you stop talking loud?" And I know my mom, she don't really talk loud, and I mean to a certain degree, but she having like trying to have a good time and trying to like catch up, um, with her friend that she known for a long time, and like my year ago, my grandma was saying like I forgot how my mom said like, "Why are you talking so loud?" And my mom said she looked her and her friend were looking at each other all really buffled, not buffled but baffled, um, and really confused. Like we're not talking loud, and keep in mind my grandma. Way I'm taller than my grandmother. Like my my mom, and my grandma are the same height, so they're like 5'7". I think my grandma was like 5'6" or something like that. But yeah, it's let's just say she was like the female version of James Brown, the best way to put it. And like if you know how James Brown is just like outside of music, and it's yeah, it's a different story. But if you watch James Brown the movie, um, get on up, you'll see what I mean. But anyways, uh, like I wasn't surprised. I was surprised about the story she told me. How condescending she was, and like denigrating, like as if like my my mom's friend and my mom were like little kids were just talking loud or just being obnoxious. I know my mom wasn't even like that. And we all have family members who are like, you know, belligerent and bitter, um, like jealous or envious. Yeah, I know, like it's just not all that great. Like I have a hard time like loving my grandmother. I should say, I really do. And that goes for like you know females in general. Is It's really hard to it's really hard to like love a woman because I that's why I'm just being quiet and just stay to myself because especially when this COVID as it's ongoing and the vaccines are already here. Like I refuse, to like date a woman who's toxic. Like women who love to be toxic doesn't really have a successful life. Don't even take into consideration live a healthy life unless um no they go by what the mainstream tells them to do, which is really devilry and witchcraft. In a sense, um that's why I just don't really talk to women because they're one-sided or monotone. They're quasi, they so-called shy. Um, they just don't want to deal with you at a certain level. They just want to like look at you and see how cute you are, and but when you try to talk to them, they just like walk away and they run away like a sheep they are. But No, there's no point of being like really frustrated about it. Um, anyways, altogether, beware of if you have a grandmother who's toxic, or you know who a friend, if you know you have a friend that has a grandmother who is toxic and brainwashing, especially the granddaughter or the daughter of the family, brainwashing them the negative aspects of attracting a male and how a male should attract them. You know, it's this materialism stuff is starting to wash away now. You know, since when materialism starting to make us happy? I don't really take stuff for granted just because I have a certain object. I utilize it, but that doesn't make me a pretentious person. Because especially being a male, we can actually invent stuff versus being frustrated about it and being a female dog. You know, crying over an item that doesn't really hold on, like that doesn't that has like a short lifespan than us. Put it that way. But I learned ever since my grandfather died, which I mentioned again, um, I learned how to stay away from females. Like from here on out, like I just don't want to hear the word love anymore. It's just all BS to me. Like I really don't care anymore. Like I I do love myself. It's hard to love other female, especially in my family, is because they're just artificial and toxic as well. And it pretty much widespread across the family border, if you will. But other than that, though, I'm pretty fine where I'm at. So like, comment, share, and subscribe. This is Blind Assassin MGTOW, and you know, if you need, like, again, like I said, if you have like any body, or if you know if you experience a toxic grandmother you have in your family, feel free to comment. Bring more subscribers or family and friend to share this video, and talk to you later. Peace.